E360 TV proudly presents Messages of Inspirational Stories TV show. Live streaming now to millions of devices around the world on Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, Android TV, YouTube Live, Facebook live streaming. Our shows are available video on demand on these channels. And we broadcast daily, Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time on these channels. On Mondays, Expanding Your Business. Tuesdays, Finding Health Naturally. Wednesdays, Mentoring Our Youth. Thursdays, Pets We Love. And on Fridays, Women in Leadership. Brought to you by our producers and hosts, Jim Grant and Donna Guinois. Along with our host, Beata Severin Reed and Emerson Brantley. Supported by our admin team of Michaela Vidal and Gaia Guinois Balconi Weda. And welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. The Messages of Inspirational Stories is proudly brought to you by the good guys at the 6-Minute Webinar and our very dear friend, part of our family here at the TV station, Mr. Bill Heinrich. I'm going to hold this up. It's going to goof up the lights, but the 7 Levels of Truth. Mr. Bill Heinrich is a personal friend of ours, and he's part of our family. And this book took 30 years in the making. And I'd just like to share a little bit about what this book is about on the back cover here, because it says it better than I ever could. So this book is for anyone seeking answers, solutions, and success in their life. And I love what it says here. Notice that it says it's your birthright to enjoy the abundance of love, peace, and joy. And after reading that, I feel like saying hallelujah, I mean, your birthright. You have the right to be loved. You have the right to the abundance of life. And I'm today with my good friend, co-host here. Actually, she's my co-host. I'm her co-host. So together we is kind of like co-host along. Beata Sever. How you doing, girl?
I'm good. I'm so happy to be here with you again, Jim. Let's do it, right?
Oh,
it's Friday.
Yeah, absolutely. We got a young lady that's been on the show before, and oh my goodness gracious, the work that she does is just, you guys out there, I've said this before that when she's been on the show, and I'll say it again, if you guys out there want to do half the work that she does, you better get up early. You better pack a lunch because, son, you're going to be into it. But let's welcome Manna to the show and let her just, share with us a little bit. Let me fix this screen here. There we go. Manna, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us today.
I always say I'm never busy for Jim. Never
too busy. Oh, my goodness. And I promised to pay her $20 to say that after the show. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to ask Manna to share a little bit about her life, where she came from. She's our kind of people because she's a dog lover too. So Manna, please share with the folks a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, I grew up with 15 dogs, 15 large dogs at one point. I used to bring these stray dogs home, and so that I wouldn't do it, my dad would get me a dog every year. And we're talking 1980s, right? Today we wouldn't do that, I guess. But at one point I had 15 large dogs running around. I grew up on a ranch, so I had enough space for them. But yes, I'm a big dog lover. I grew up I was born in Bombay, India. I have been here in the US for the last 15, 16 years. I keep saying 15, 16 years. I'm kind of like stuck on that, 15 and 16, but I think it's way more than that.
Yeah.
I have been, I was with the American Red Cross before. I was the CEO here for Southern California. I left American Red Cross and founded GIFT Global Initiative. It's a diplomacy organization that works in 17 countries. Most of our work is focused on children because I started out, even while I was with the Red Cross, I was doing some work with organizations which were deeply involved with anti-human trafficking work. and I volunteered my time for them, and kind of got educated in the process of how evil human trafficking is, and how it affects not just older kids, but also 3 and 4-year-old babies. We started Gift with the vision that we don't have to keep giving free stuff or keep supporting these families if we make them self-independent, right? So the goal is to bring them jobs, to bring them education, medical care, anything that would help these families to support their own children, to protect their own kids. We started in Tijuana, Mexico, and as I said, now we are in 17 countries, and we run different programs and initiatives.
Yeah, that's amazing, isn't it, Beata?
This is fantastic. And I don't know, when are you doing it? Because you look like 16. So, and you said you are living in the US for
15,
16.
not 16, Beata. 15.
Yeah, 15. And you were CEO already for Red Cross. Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
When did you? It's inspiring. What drives you? Where does this whole desire to do that job come from?
I think, I've thought about that. And I think a big piece of that is from my dad. So he was growing up, he was a politician, but he was not really a politician. He never made money in politics. He was more of a
wasn't for
social
sale.
activist. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he was not for sale. Absolutely. And he would take me and my sister and walk us through these slums in Bombay. And as a child, it was like, oh my God, this is gross, disgusting. But full circle, right? I'm doing exactly what he was doing back then. He would sit down with these families who had nothing, and he would eat with them. And I think my first experience of doing the work I'm doing today was when I was little with him. And then I traveled. I have traveled my entire life, not for leisure, but mostly to just experience different cultures. And when you travel overseas, you come back having an appreciation for what we have here in this country. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Because people that's never been out of this country, the United States, and experienced the way other people live, they do not understand, what we take for granted, like breathing air. It's a struggle for people over there, especially young kids over there. And you've done a lot of work with young kids. My goodness, we've got a little video where it shows up, feeding kids and planting trees, and just, it's just wonderful, because kids need to understand the value of what life and living is all about. And I love your one of the comments that your organization talks about. It's about giving a hand up. That is amazing, rather than a handout, because
Yes.
it's so, and I've heard you talk about some of the things that you've done, because you were on the show a couple of times, and I'm going back through the memory banks, but this gray hair and my brain waves kind of short out a little bit, so you got to bear with me some. But share with the folks what it means when you go back and you see kids that have, been able to take that hand up and go to the next level.
Yeah.
Or anyone.
I'll just give you an example of this child. And I think we spoke about her before on the show, Yamilet. When I first met her, when she was 2 years old, had brain cancer. And in these slums in Tijuana, her mom had eloped with a cartel member. When she found out that the baby has cancer, the father was killed in the cartel wars down in Mexico. And she was being cared for by her old grandma. No money. I mean, the home's made out of cardboards, and there's dirt all over the floor, and she had brain cancer. I found out about her through social media, and we decided to bring her on into our medical fund. It's been 7 years, so she's I think she's 8 years old now. She's cancer free, and she's in school through our school sponsorship program.
Wow.
And her older sister, so she had two siblings, older brother and older sister. Her older sister was sponsored by a lawyer friend of mine for school. So she completed her education and now she is in law school.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when you hear these stories, I mean, I don't think I can say anything more, but it's just experiencing how these kids can go from having nothing. And all we did for her was give her medical care and give her education.
Wow.
The school sponsorship program, it's not a lot of money. It's $1,800 a year, but it provides these kids with food. It provides them with their school supplies, school tuition, and an entire year in
Holy smokes.
$1,800. And you see the
Yeah.
impact of that. One of the
Yeah.
kids is in law school now. Yamlet is cancer free and she's in school, and
Good.
when you see these stories over and over again, it's like so little money. What is $1,800? We spend
Yeah.
150 every month on coffee in the US, right?
Yeah. Amen. I mean, I'm sitting here thinking about that $1,800 a year, and I'm thinking I know some people in this town where I pay taxes. I need to send them down there to go to school
I mean that's the
because
other
it's
thing
just,
too. I always,
yeah.
yeah, I mean you're right because $1,800 in sending a child to school or giving them medical care, you're getting a tax write-off if you're here in the U.S.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? So it's you're still able to claim that or claim your tax donation, your charitable donations and your taxes every year. But a
Oh, yeah.
child somewhere, it's a big deal for them.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
life changing for these
Sure.
kids.
And I can just imagine how those little kids feel, knowing that someone that they don't even know cares enough about them to
Yeah.
not only just support them and help them, but to be there because you're there, boots on the ground, many, many, many times. And I remember in the show, and I like for you to share this with the folks out there in TV land, how it feels when you're, riding in a vehicle and they know you're coming. I mean, I'm gonna let you pick it up from right there. I'll slaughter it if I don't.
Well, I'll tell you this. The number one reason why I left American Red Cross because I wanted to be out in the trenches. I actually wanted to go out and experience it. And when you are high up in an organization like Red Cross, you spend most of your time fundraising or you're running the organization. So yes, you may get
Yeah.
some opportunities to be out there doing good, but I craved it. I really wanted it. So a lot of people thought I was crazy when I left my job because it was a great job on paper, and I was like, but it just doesn't fit my value system. Like I need to be out there in the trenches. I need to feel what we are doing, feel the impact, right? So, and I mentioned to you, every time we go to Tijuana or now to Africa, any of these countries, we are boots on the ground. I've been to each one of these countries. I travel a lot. I travel a lot, and someone just recently said to me, we were in Saudi Arabia, and this woman we were speaking with, she runs a foundation out there, and she said, "I can't believe you do this. I just don't think you can do it. I don't think anyone can do this. How can you be in so many different places?" I said, "You know what? I've been doing this 15 years. I mean, anyone can do this.
Yeah.
That's the fact. It just has to be important enough for you to find a way to do it." And when you arrive in these places, these kids run up to you and they hug you. And why? It's not a one-off thing. It's not that go there, dump your donations and get out. It's an ongoing relationship building that we have with these kids. We have mentorship. These kids, when you sponsor a child, I love for these sponsors to send us videos and pictures and messages for these children. Because like you said, it matters to these kids who have, some of them
Yeah.
have no families, some of them are orphans, some of them have families, but to know that someone in America cares about me, I mean,
Yeah.
it's impactful for them. And we see that every time we arrive in these places. I mean, geez, like I go to South Africa twice a year for a program called Sports for Solar, and I would love to speak about that too. But when we arrive, these kids, there's 5,000 homes in this slum, and they call it informal settlement. 5,000 homes, every home has 3 to 4 kids, so you can do the math. These kids run up to you and they hug you as if you're their parent, you're their mom or your dad, and it feels amazing, it feels incredible to see
Wow.
that much love.
I bet so,
Wow.
because, Beata, in your background and where you came from, I mean, you could really appreciate the work that Mana's done. And, you probably know some kids or seen some kids that could use someone in their life with love and support.
Absolutely. I traveled a lot too, except that I come from Poland, and now Poland is pretty good place to live. But when I was growing up, and we talk about that, it wasn't that pretty. But I travel a lot,
Fantastic.
and I've been in India, and that was the most impactful probably trip for me, seeing and how people live and how happy they are with this, having almost nothing. And when I
Yeah.
came back here, I was like, wow, that was the reminder for me to appreciate where I live and what I have in this country. So I
Yeah.
appreciate what you do, definitely, Mana.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we see this culture of complaining here in the
Hmm.
U.S. and
Yes.
I just feel like I wish our kids who go through education system in the U.S. would have field trips. Take them overseas or show them how kids and families live
Hmm.
overseas for their own growth, so that you can come back and appreciate what we have here and just make it better.
Hmm. Absolutely. Well, on the marquee down there, we've got your Eventbrite. You got an event coming up soon. Would you like to share with the folks there about this
Yeah.
event?
Yeah, definitely. So we are doing a fundraiser. It's on March 16th, and it's a fun event. We have a sound bath and some wellness. So it falls under the health and wellness category. So
Hmm.
we'll be having wine and snacks and um, tarot card readers. Like I said, there are all kinds of wellness products and services at the event.
Yeah.
It's only $25, but what this
Wow.
event is for is those 25, one ticket. So if you buy a ticket, that money goes to buying a solar light for children who have no access to electricity around the world. We
Mm.
have about 8 billion people in the world who have no access, zero access to light. And what happens is, if you go the second, there's a second link, Jim, over there, the YouTube link that I showed you.
Oh,
That's a
yeah.
great channel. It's a YouTube channel. And
Hmm.
we post videos from the field. And what you
Mm.
notice is some of these communities that have no light or no water, they will use kerosene or candles. And
Hmm.
because they live in these shacks, the shacks go up in fire every few days,
Mm.
and who gets affected is little kids. They get stuck in these shacks and they
Mm.
have burn marks.
Wow.
So we started bringing solar lights. These are portable lights that we give out at the end of sporting events. So we do
Mhm.
something called Sports for Solar in these 17 countries. We
Mm.
bring together kids from these communities. So in South Africa, it's about 1,000 kids who participate in it every year,
Mhm.
and they play soccer, they'll play tennis. We introduce different kinds of sports. We bring them uniforms and shoes, and it's a fun day of
Mm.
sports. At the end of the day, instead of going home with a trophy, all those kids get a solar light,
Wow.
which brings light to their families. So this
Mm.
event, the link that you had before, the Eventbrite, even if you're not in LA, you can still show your support by buying a ticket,
Mhm.
because that money, everything, 100% of the proceeds from that
Mhm.
event will be used to buying solar lights, which
Mhm.
will then be given out whether in South America or in Africa through
Yeah.
that program. Yeah.
That's really amazing. I mean, goodness, the event there, you have wine and all this good food and stuff and health food. And so you won't be, I know some guys when I was in the military, they drink some wine, they wouldn't, they feel real good. But realistically, ladies and gentlemen, during the live broadcast, you may have problems seeing that, but go to our YouTube channel, our Facebook page, or our webpage. It's just simple mytvshow.live, because our shows are uploaded to our webpage. You'll be able to play the show. You can stop the video and be able to write down the website there and go to it. And because it's very important, that's the Eventbrite event. This is the YouTube channel here, And that way you could be able to become more informed in this very important humanitarian effort that Manna and everyone else involved with her is doing. And Beata, I don't know about you, but I've been thinking, how does she come up with all these ideas? I mean, to do the solar, sports and all that, that's above my pay grade. I got to be honest with you folks.
I don't know. She's brilliant, so you need to ask her.
How do all these ideas come up, this energy that just flows?
It's really listening to these people, I think traditionally what nonprofits do is they say that, oh, we specialize in disaster management. Something happens, you go there, give them water and get out. Or, so instead of going into a space and saying, what is it that you guys need here? How can we make your life better? You listen, and then they tell you, oh, we don't have clean water, or we don't have light. And that's what you bring to them. If I'm bringing you mangoes and you have a mango orchard, you're not going to need anything from me. You see what I mean? So the whole idea of bringing people what you think they need as against bringing people what they tell you they need is how you come up with these initiatives. And Sports for Solar was that 4 years ago, I went to South Africa for a speaking engagement. And after the event was done, I was like sightseeing. I was doing touristy things, and I was on my crutches. I had a fracture. So we go. They
remember that.
Yeah. So they bring me, and the doctor was horrified that I did that. But they bring us to this settlement, informal settlement, which used to be Nelson Mandela's hometown before he became Nelson Mandela. So he lived there for a couple of years, and they bring you there to give you a tour. And of course, everyone else is taking pictures with the kids and taking photographs and selfies. And what I saw was just these kids running around. I could tell there were live wires on the ground. There was no water, you could tell. Literally, the state of the settlement was really bad. And I'm like, how do these people live here? And I don't understand. So many tourists come through this place. And how come people are just stopping by to take pictures and not ask these questions? So I said to my driver, you know what, I'll pay you a little bit more money. Bring me here back tomorrow. And I want to speak with someone who lives here and ask them to give me a tour. So we go back next day. This guy named Jack, who was born and raised in that community, gave me a 2-hour tour. We went from one home to the other, spoke with families, kids, and I was on my crutches. I still have videos from that time. And I was like, oh my God, I mean, these are things that could be easily fixed. We could do sponsorship programs. We could do, we can bring solar lights, but none of this needs to be given away free, because I don't believe in a culture of entitlements.
Right.
I think people should always earn it. So we devised the sports program, which allows the kids to actually have fun, but they are also trained throughout the year. That keeps them on track. And they look forward to these events. And now we are having partnerships with soccer schools all around the world who can give scholarships to some of these kids who play amazing soccer, football.
That's really amazing. I like what you said there about the entitlement, because when people are just, we've got generations in this country who have been on welfare, and really it's a huge disservice because you rob people of their dignity, because those kids have an opportunity to participate in sports and have an opportunity to earn a solar light. I mean, Vieta, I can just imagine how these kids who live in darkness when the sun goes down, and now they got their own solar light up. Oh man,
Absolutely.
That's like having a new bicycle in it.
Yeah, and if I can just add,
Sure.
Here, you said something that is very close to what I deeply believe in. You said that you go and you talk to people and listen, and we forget how to listen. So you listen to learn what they really need, not what you think they might need.
Right.
That is so crucial, in leadership, and it's what we talk about here today. And that's why you are not politician, you are philanthropist and humanitarian,
I
because
keep saying
politicians, they think about, okay, what people might need, and you are no, go and ask them, really check with them. I love it. It's the highest value for me in my coaching too. When I coach, I help people to find out what they really need, not what they think they need, because we are so attached to the outside world, right? Living in this rich country. So thank you for what you're doing. But my question, if I can ask question here, is it relates to leadership, as I mentioned, and I noticed when I was preparing myself to talk to you that you teach and talk about conscious leadership. If you could talk about what does it even mean, because I don't think that many people knows what is conscious leadership.
Yeah, it's definitely not being awake, because we are all awake but not conscious many times. Conscious leadership to me is being present and listening and really being okay wearing many hats. Because when you wear many hats as a leader, at least initially, when you're kickstarting your business or your job, it's okay to wear many hats, because it makes you very conscious of your team. It makes you conscious. You appreciate people around you who may then end up doing the same job that you're doing today. So that's conscious leadership. And we actually I founded this organization called Conscious Leadership Institute, and we do life coaching, but for leaders and leaders in corporations, individuals. It comes from my therapy background. So I used to be a therapist. I don't practice anymore under my license, but I feel like we need leaders today, and we need conscious leaders. Leaders who are willing to listen and are open to constructive feedback.
I love it. It's all so great. Go ahead.
It really is. I was just going to say it's very important, because when I sometimes I send out stuff and I'll ask for feedback, and you're never, if you're just sending out to people says, hey man, that was great. You look, this is, you're brilliant. And all you've already struck out before you even got up to the plate. I want that person to tell me, so Jim, I'm sorry, but I really didn't get this. Or I think you need to look at this and maybe redo it, and with these suggestions here. And the key to good feedback is be open-minded and realize they're coming from the heart. And it's like I told a guy one time who's going to start a podcast. I knew him very, very, very well. And he said, what's the first thing you recommend me to do before I start my podcast? Just like it. That's his body language and all. I was, and he was right in front of me. And I said, the best advice I can give you is go on eBay, put your ego for sale, and stay there until you get your money's worth. For some reason, he did not appreciate that. And I was coming from the heart. Oh, well. But it's very...
Just as a leader, you got to understand that people have different lenses of life. You never have the same perception as any other person. You could live with them for 25 years. I mean, we are not the same people as our siblings. How do you expect to be the same person as someone we've never met before?
Oh, yeah. I remember many years ago, I heard Joe Theismann. He was a former quarterback for the Washington Redskins. And one time the NFL was on strike. They couldn't get anything. And so he wanted his team to be ready to play. So he got everybody together, drew up game plans and, plays and all that. And then he said something that's very, very interesting. He says, I learned one thing about leadership. Leadership is not getting people to follow you because you said so. Leadership is to get people to be enthused and get involved and believe in the same things that you do. And that takes pure energy, and it also creates trust. And that's what leadership is about. And, in the military, 31 years I spent in the Army, it was leadership was very important, because if the leader went down, they didn't have to sit down and have a powwow and, okay, who's going to be the leader here? It was already cut and dried. They were already also very prepared to be a leader. That's what leaders do. Leaders help their subordinates become leaders to excel using their own traits, their gifts, their talents, and praises them along the way. Always praise in public and always critique in private. That's a good sign for a leader. Anyway, I'm gonna let Beata talk some. She's been listening to me. She's sitting there smiling. But
No,
Beata, I'd like for you to share a little bit about your background, where you came from, because you grew up in Poland and then you came to the United States. And yeah, just very quickly, if you would, please.
Yeah, quickly, because that's not about me today, right? But I feel very connected to Mana and her work, because I come from Poland and grew up in communistic country. So I saw everything what kids shouldn't see, and experience poverty that kids shouldn't experience, but we do. And then what we just do with it. So the education that Mana do for kids, and the awareness that she shares with them is, I admire, because without that, they're gonna grow up as a little leaders, not victim of the circumstances. So it's what my mom helped me with when I was growing up. So I didn't become a victim of my story, but a victor of my future. So today I'm here, and I love to be connected with leaders like you and Mana.
Oh, well, thank you very much. I'll tell you right now, ladies and gentlemen, it's our honor and pleasure to have quality people on this show, like Beata and Mana and Donna and all the rest, Emerson, my goodness. They're just, it's just really an honor for me to be associated with them. And, when it comes to one thing was said earlier that I really wanted to talk about, just mention briefly, my first experience and seeing how what Beata said about, giving someone something that you think they need, they could use. And I was in Vietnam in 1960, 70, and 1969, I pulled 21 in Vietnam. And I saw them give this farmer some equipment. And what he did with it, he took it apart and he was able then to implement it and use it to what he understood. And I remember we were sitting there and we were thinking, oh my goodness gracious, why would he do that? It didn't make sense to us. And it was just so incredible for us to, experience that, because we were the ignorant ones. We were the ones that never listened. We were the ones that did not understand. We thought we knew the way his world turned, but we forgot. We came from the other side of the world, and that's reality. And you want to play one of the food videos, Mana?
Yeah, or we could do the sports for solar, just show them what that looks like in South Africa.
All right.
That's the last.
Is this one here on YouTube here?
Yeah, I sent you the last link.
Okay, I'll have to have it. I'd have to have it uploaded to the studio to be able to do that. So I won't be able to play that one there. But I would like to share with you. I mean, some of the food video here. My goodness gracious! I hope I hit the correct one. We'll be back in just about 1 minute and 10 seconds. Stay with us.
Hey guys, we are here in Tijuana, Mexico, walking towards the kitchen that we have set up for the children. We are serving them hot dogs and cookies. They're gonna get some gifts, donations today. So I'm gonna take you in there and show you the kitchen. All the kids are waiting for their food. So let's go in there. He's setting up this hot dog stand right here.
Sí, porque por eso no han sacado las cosas de adentro. Ay, man. Bueno.
All right, ladies, I'm gonna jump in here real quick.
Deme de los que se fueron, doble.
Wow, that's an amazing video. I love that there because I can just, anytime you go to a cookout, it's fun. But for those little kids, that is a real treat for them, isn't it?
We do that. That's probably one time of the year that we actually do something for free, like giving out free food. Yeah, it's Christmas Day or a day before Christmas or around that time. So these kids would have at least a good meal.
Yeah, and there's a lot of great videos there at your YouTube channel. There, just be sure and copy that link and go to it. And because there's a lot of great videos there, and
it's
just
called
really
Gift Global Initiative. The YouTube channel for Gift is Gift Global Initiative, and we have a ton of good videos.
Okay, Gift Global Initiative, and you can also find YouTube channels at their website. Let me put the website back up there again, and it's I got about 45 of these tabs here, and normally either Donna's with this or there we go. There's the website. You can go there to the website. They got a lot of information there, a lot of YouTube videos that you can connect to, and it's just tremendous. It really is. And if you're looking for a way to give back to someone less fortunate than you, I would encourage you to kindly go there, look at that website, ask some questions, because these good folks, they've done it for a long, long time. And they can answer your questions, and they can help you, answer your questions and see if this is a good fit for you. And most importantly, how can you fit in? And how can you help? Of course, money helps, obviously, but there's many, many other ways a person can give and help. And Beata, I know that in your life, you look for ways. I know you help people. You don't say much about it, but I know many, many ways because I know a lot about you. You look for ways to help people. You look for ways for blessed people. You won't say it on TV, but I will.
Thank you so much. Yes, I do, because I love to be a human that is giving to other humans. The ones that maybe they're, like you said, not blessed as I am, but I remember how it was when I didn't have what I have today. So
amen. I got to share something with you, and I tell people this and they laugh at me, but I'm telling them the truth. I grew up on a farm in North Carolina. My dad grew cotton and corn, and we didn't know we were poor till we went to town. But what we were rich in, what we were very, very, very rich in, were things that money could not buy, nor could any thief reach in and take from us or steal. And I thank God for my mother. His mother she had a lot of good sayings, like all mothers do, shut the door. You weren't raised in a barn or something like that. But mother used to always tell me, if you cannot say something nice about someone, don't say anything at all. And that was instilled in my mind. And I'm glad that I had a mom and dad. That was common for me growing up in North Carolina. Dad, many times on Sunday, he had a friend that was a bachelor, and he'd invite him over for Sunday dinner right after church. We had breakfast, dinner, and supper in the South. You folks in the city had breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But we'd sit out at the noon meal there on Sunday and have fried chicken or whatever. And it just so happened my dad's friend was black, and we didn't think anything about it. I had a lot of black friends, and I mean, that's the way we should, be in our society, because we're all brothers and sisters by different mothers, and we need to remember where we came from. We need to remember if we can bless others, we're going to be blessed. That's a prerequisite. It's kind of like a farmer planting a field. He's got to do the work, plant the field before he can reap the crops in the fall. And the same thing is true. If you want to be blessed in life, be sure and reach out and look for ways to bless others. It's just a win-win situation. And the feeling and joy and jubilee you have in your heart, oh my goodness, that makes it all worthwhile. And I know both these ladies can relate to that.
Absolutely. I have
But
one more question to Mana, because she's the leader that walks on the edges, and I actually saw on her Facebook page that she visited the place called the Edge of the World. So what have you been doing there?
Oh, so we actually went to Edge of the World is in Saudi Arabia. It's in Riyadh. And that was my first trip to Saudi Arabia. It's one of those things where you have to go visit a place to really understand what it's about. So they have something called Saudi Vision 2030, which kind of aligns with what we are doing, which is planting trees or bringing solar lights. And we wanted to see how we could do that with the help of all countries in the world, but especially the Middle Eastern countries like UAE and Saudi Arabia, who are trying to really change how we look at these things like climate action or sustainable agriculture, like those kind of things, which we've been doing for the last 5 years anyways. Now, GIFT is looking at public and private partnerships. So how can we take governments who are interested in that, and then corporations who are also interested, and bridge the gap, because none of those have the logistical infrastructure that we do, because we are in 17 countries doing the work. So how can we help the private and the public sector come together and implement these things, such as, whether it's planting trees or sustainable job, like job growth in different countries, bringing jobs to Africa, those kind of things. So that's what in Riyadh. And we went to a place called Edge of the World, which actually used to be an ocean bed. It used to be an ocean bed, and it looks like Grand Canyon now. It's dry, there's no vegetation, and you climb up on the mountain, you look down, and you can still see those watermarks from maybe millions of years before. It used to be an ocean. So just experiencing different cultures, especially because we don't really understand different cultures until we travel and be open-minded about what that country or what that culture could entail.
Absolutely.
Base our opinions of things on whatever is told to us in media, and I'm not that person.
Yeah,
I
I
love
understand. It's like there's some people that I've heard of, and I don't know them personally, but I've heard them say they wouldn't want to come to the United States based on what they see on the media that we put out, blowing up buildings and shooting people. And I mean, good gracious, I like what you say there. You got to be boots on the ground. You got to breathe the same air these folks do and have an open mind understanding. Go ahead.
When people do that, for some time, you probably feel really disconnected from others, because majority of people out there are not traveling, and their information is based on books or whatever you see on TV. I'll tell you, we were in Ukraine last year. We were there for the first 1 month when the war started, which is why, Beata, I was in Poland. I stayed there for a month. Because
my mom house is like an hour from the border, so I was very curious about
we were in Medica most of the time, but we went into Ukraine, and one of the things we noticed, a lot of nonprofits have left Ukraine by now, but when we went there was no one there. Like, none of the bigger nonprofits claiming to be on the field. They were actually on the Polish side, the safer side. They had these huge tents set up to raise money. But we were in Ukraine. We went into Donbass. We went into those areas which were really impacted, because, as you know, Ukraine is a big country, and then there's certain parts of Ukraine which are really impacted by the war, but then life continues in the other areas. And you don't understand that. Everyone's thinking that there are shells and bombings and everything all over the place. It's not like that. But you only see it when you travel, and we did that last year. And then we decided to kind of we were there for 2 months in April and May. And I'm telling you, the education you get by just traveling and being in the field is incredible, because none of these TV channels were in there either. They were all on the other side, claiming to report what's going on in Ukraine. Kill me. But yeah, it's interesting. And you'll feel disconnected because most people base their opinions of things from what they read in books or what they see on TV. Until you actually travel to the place, you really don't know what's going on.
Yeah. It's
Thank
the
you for
difference.
what you're doing.
Oh,
I just
yeah.
want to say thank you.
Yeah, it's always our honor to have her on TV too. And what you see in there reminds me of, it's a lot different looking at a picture of a cheeseburger than biting into one, I mean, it's just amazing because you cannot connect if you're not connected. That's just the bottom line. And, the people that you meet there, you want to visit with the everyday people, the grassroots kind of people. They're the ones that's connected. And the people who are higher up, I'll say, they're more into wanting to make sure they say the right thing. Their focus is on, some jibber jabber rather than speaking from the heart and coming from the heart. And I tell you, Manna, the work that you've done and what you've done in the past, I mean, I got to salute you, girl. I really, really do. And now you guys, you men folk out there that's, sitting on the couch with a belly so big you hadn't seen your toes in the last 10 years. Now and I can say that to you guys. I'll pressure to upset you. No, but really, now you can see why I said in the beginning of the show, if you're going to keep up and do the things that this young lady is doing, you better eat your Wheaties. And that's just bottom line, because I salute you on that. I really do. It's just, it just blows me away how much that you do. And you're all over the place. I mean, you were down at UAE, weren't you? United Arab Emirates in that area?
Yeah. Last year, we were there. And then more recently, just like maybe 2 weeks ago, we were in Saudi.
Yeah, in Saudi, yeah.
Yeah.
And now you're in
South Africa.
And now you're in Shaky Town, Los Angeles, huh? Yeah. Yeah. That's old trucker talk, Shaky Town. That's what they used to call it. But it's really an honor and a blessing. I love that one little video. We may have time or we may not, depending, where they teach the children how to plant trees. There's something about working with the dirt, because people in the natural, what am I trying to say here? The people who are connected, not psychics, but the nutritionists, people like that, they say you need to take your shoes off and get well grounded. You just stand barefoot on the ground. There's something about that connection. That's what I'm trying to say, folks. Sometimes I get my tongue wrapped around my eye tooth and I can't see what to say. But realistically, I know when I go outside and I like to sit in the sun, and I like to take my shoes off and put my feet on the ground, because I used to go barefoot in the summer when I was a kid. I used to ride a bicycle barefooted. And, I remember one time, this guy came up in the car and he saw me and I had one boot on. He says, "Did you lose your other boot, son?" I said, "No, sir, I found one." And he did not understand that, because I did. I found an old shoe there and I put it on, stomping around it, just the way a kid would do. But, we're all getting close to the end of the show. And Manna, I just want to turn the microphone over to you and let you share any closing thoughts that you would like to share with the audience out there, please, if you would.
I would just, remind people that, let's say if you go online and shop for a new shoe for yourself, the attraction to the new thing that you just bought for yourself lasts one day. Every single day from that point onwards, it gets old and old and old, and then you pretty much don't care about this shoe that you brought for yourself. you stop on the street and help a homeless person, you're going to tell that story for the rest of your life. The
Amen.
amount of high, the amount of high you get from helping others, you will never find that in doing things for yourself. You'll never find that in shopping for new cars, new homes, new shoes. Everything gets old. Everything gets old, but helping others. You're going to tell that story to your grandkids that, hey, remember, I stopped by and I bought food for this homeless person. You may have done this 25 years ago and you're still telling the story because it makes you feel good. So if there's one reason why you need to do good things for others, is just for yourself. It makes you feel good. The more it makes you feel good, good things come into your life. That's just basic science.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because you're saying that, and that is so true. Because how many people go buy something and they got buyer's remorse, or wish they hadn't. If they bought it today and it's on sale tomorrow, and they see it come on sale, then they get mad. It's just amazing. And Beata, I'm gonna let you go next because I would want to follow what she said there because that was just powerful. Very,
yeah,
very
just
powerful.
put me on the hot seat now. What I'm gonna say after that, right? I don't have much to say. I'm impressed with what you do, and I encourage everyone who is listening and watching to follow Mana and her work. And I hope that you will find the space in your heart, and you will hand up. It was hand up, yeah. You will share your hand and give hand up to this that Mana is helping. And I don't know if you know what the word hope stands for, but I love it. It stands for help one person every day. So I hope that one of you gonna help one person every day and support Mana with it. Thank you.
Now I got to follow both those young ladies. You guys out there pray for me. But it's really amazing because I've often believed this, and I really do in my heart. Don't try to figure it out on your own. Just have in your heart that, I'm going to look for ways to be able to be a blessing to others. Don't worry about the process. The energy will come to you at the right time and lead you in the right direction. And that's the same thing that's true whenever you're in everyday life, no matter what your goals are in life. Don't ever make decisions. Bill Heinrich told me, we were on live TV. He says, Jim, thinking's not good for you. Oh, okay. But what he was saying was that don't make decisions, because decisions, you build a mental box and you put parameters around your eyes, and everything's got to fit in that final decision that you made. Make options instead. And that way you're more flexible, because the direction you think you may be going, the energy may pull you in a different direction. And the same is true with helping others. Just have it in your heart and in your mindset that you want to help others wherever you can. Many times we think to help someone, we got to do something in a grandiose type of way. No, we don't. Just little things in life that we can do in the hour of need, when the person's there, and we do something simple, something easy to help them, or to let them know that you care, that they are somebody on planet Earth. To me, that speaks volumes, because that's the way I was brought up, and that's just the way I look at things. And ladies and gentlemen, our time is definitely almost gone. I get my glasses back on here in Acme 8 so I can see the clock. But in closing, we always like to close the show to say, remember one thing: you are worthy to be loved. So love yourself. No one can stop you from doing that. Love yourself first, and then you can love others, because then you cannot give something that you do not have. So therefore, if you embrace love and you love yourself and you love others, sometimes you must love them enough to let them go. And also love yourself enough to give yourself grace, to forgive yourself when you do things. Because that was one thing that I used to struggle with, because I was down on myself. And that is so wrong on all fronts. But when I recognized that and I owned it, and I said, I'm going to let that go. When I goof up or when I make a mistake, I will try to make it right to the best of my ability. I will apologize. I'll do whatever it takes, and then I'm going to let it go. And I'm going to forgive myself. Because I've known people out there that struggle with forgiving themselves. They hold it inside. Let it go. Because all it does will enslave you. It'll rob you of your health. It'll rob you of your happiness. And it will rob you from being the person that you are entitled to be. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Mana and Beata, we're so thankful you tuned in today. Be sure. And our closing comment is basically, we sincerely hope and pray that you and your loved ones are healthy, happy, and blessed in all areas of your life. We'll be back Monday with Mr. Rennie Gabriel, my good friend. We're going to be analyzing real estate, and he's helping me a lot. In fact, I think I'm almost able now to spell real estate. We'll tune in Monday and we'll find out. We'll see you next time, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you again. Beata, thank you for being with us.
Thank
Mana,
you.
from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, folks.